Well, good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Micah Wilhite here. Welcome to this latest edition of Beyond the Weather. It is Wednesday, May the 14th, 2014, and it is ridiculously early in the morning as I'm recording this. I got up a little early this morning to look over the overnight data. We have a potentially serious situation for some of us today and a potentially rainy situation for some of us today. Severe weather today, possible but not likely for some of us and more likely for some of us than others. We'll talk about what regions can best expect that severe weather here in just a moment. All right, today's video update is sponsored by Metal Magic in Washington. You can give Chad a call at 698-8555 for all of your paintless dent repair needs. They have that traveling hail team, folks, so if you get some hail damage today, you know where to call. Tell them Southern Indiana Weather sent you. They do a fantastic job. All right, radar into motion here very early in the morning. As I said, it's just shy of 6 a.m. here, Eastern Time, just shy of 5 a.m. Central Time, Evansville time here, and we see a big plume of rain. And unfortunately, we've got some rain that we're going to potentially be dealing with today, big time. Let's take a look at your Storm Prediction Center's outlooks. The categorical outlook first. Here is your slight risk for severe weather. See, it kind of cuts off just to the east of the Evansville metro area. If I zoom it in here for you a little bit, this is not the one I want. Hold on, that was the wind category. Let me go back to the categorical. Here's where your slight risk does cut off for Indiana, and we'll zoom it in here. And you can see it does kind of cut really through portions of Indiana. It even cuts some counties in half here. If your county is cut in half, just understand you're in the slight risk for severe weather. These are very arbitrarily drawn, folks. They're not intending to cut certain counties in half. Really what they're doing on these is whenever they draw them, they're drawing a point here, and they're drawing a point here, and a point here, and a point here, and they're just connecting the lines. Okay, and they're just giving their best guess on where they think the severe weather threat is the highest today. So as you can see, it kind of does split Indiana in half here in our southern portion of the state, with some at risk and some not at risk. I think the strongest risk, obviously, for us here in the south portion of the state is going to be closer to the Louisville area. In fact, I think that majority of the severe weather today will stay along I-65 in the Louisville area and points to the east. Those of us in the west, I think, are going to have a little harder time getting severe weather today. I'll show you why here in just a second. All right, going back to this SPC's website, let's just take a look at this. 5% tornado probability for the slight risk area, 2% tornado probability really for all the rest of the state. I'm not convinced that we're going to have to be worried about a real tornado threat around here today. Again, I think the severe weather stays I-65 and east for the most of us. I'll show you why here in a second. As I said, here's your wind probabilities, and here is your hail probabilities. And what you see on both of those is that we do have that marginal risk for severe weather that encompasses the entire rest of us. So even if we're not under a slight risk, we are underneath of a marginal risk. Let's time this out. Let's look at the HER model. This is the highest resolution model that we have here. Let me just sort of time this out for you very early in the morning here. You can see this plume of rain arrives here by 8 or 9 a.m. or so here in the state, and you can see here we are even by the noon hour, and it is still just raining cats and dogs all over the state. About 2 o'clock, we get a little bit of a break in the action here, but not for long, because southwest corners of the state are still getting more rain. Notice this squall line. This model only goes out to 15 hours, so we're only talking about 6 o'clock this ends. But notice this nice squall line starting to develop down here to the south. We back this up, and you can see how this starts to form in Mississippi and move. Notice the direction it's going. It's kind of moving in this fashion, and this is one of the indicators to me that says severe weather, not likely as much for us here in southwest Indiana tonight as much as it is for this area over here, because this would be moving in this direction. Okay, I can't rule out a severe thunderstorm for us, but really it's going to depend on how much it rains today. High resolution NAM future radar has a similar look to it, as you can see as I put this into motion. It does give us a little bit of a break in the afternoon. There's that squall line develop in the south. It sees that a little further than what the HER model does, and watch what it does with this squall line. It takes it to the Louisville area and points east, and really doesn't have much of an effect on us. All right, let's take a look at, here's the reason why. Remember, let me go down here first. Okay, to get severe weather, you basically need 3 ingredients. Remember, folks, you need instability, which is your warmth and moisture. You need good wind shear, that's your strong winds aloft, and you need a forcing mechanism or a lifting mechanism, whichever one you want to call it. It could be a front, it could be a low pressure, it could be an upper level disturbance, whatever you want to call it. Forcing mechanism, no problem. We've got a powerful upper level low to our west, and we have a surface low that's going to be tracking into the area. It'll be enough to fire thunderstorms, no problem. Wind shear, I will concede that as well. I'm not even going to look at the data with you. Bulk shear is It ain't the best that we've ever seen in the world, but it's enough for severe criteria. Instability is going to be our biggest issue today. And to get severe weather, you need all three of these syncing up at the same time. If they don't sync up all three at the same time, you don't get severe weather. Here's our measure of instability. We look at a product called CAPE. CAPE, convective available potential energy. It's a measure of the potential energy, the potential fuel for the fire up in the atmosphere for storms to be able to fire. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look by the time that those storms would start to have a chance to go severe. Here's for 5 o'clock this afternoon. Look at this. Absolutely no CAPE to speak of, according to the NAM, over most of southern Indiana. A little bit of CAPE starts to come in as a surface low moves over us, but by this time, it's 11 o'clock at night, and, the squall line has been racing this way, not over towards us. Here's what the GFS says. About that same time, a little bit more aggressive on the CAPE, but not very aggressive at all, is it? In fact, let's try to go back here to a little earlier in the day, and you see nothing for us at all, and it starts to gain a little bit of CAPE as the low moves over us, but then the low quickly moves away and it's gone. Well, it doesn't matter if you can have the highest wind speeds in the world, you can have a great forcing mechanism in the world, but if you don't have any instability at all, you're not going to get severe weather. So whenever you see panels like this that are showing the potential for a very low amount of CAPE, well, that's concerning, to say the least. Okay, so that's why I say today is a very marginal threat for most of us. Now, let's go back here. Do I think that the 15% risk, slight risk, is justified for most of us? I personally wouldn't have drawn it this far west, but I'm okay with it. I think the 5% risk is probably more than enough for most of us here in the southern part of Indiana. I think personally that the risk stays east of I-65. I think that squall line develops. I think down here is definitely at risk for that squall line to develop. It'll start to push to the northeast, and that will sort of preclude most of our southern Indiana counties from seeing that squall line develop. From the way it looks to me right now, that could change later on in today, but as of this morning's data, that's what I see it. It's going to be a monitoring trend. Here's the difference. If it rains all day, you can kiss severe weather goodbye. Probably not going to happen. If we get a break in this afternoon and we can get 3, maybe 4 or 5 hours, say 1, 2 o'clock onward until the main show starts to happen, we can get a break with a few little bits of sun peeking through the clouds, then we'd stand a chance of seeing a storm or two go severe tonight. But with it raining much of the day, the way the models want to say, if that happens, probably not. All right. So that is sort of the latest on where we stand right now, folks. Don't forget our mobile app is now ready for Google Play. It has been submitted to the Apple iStore. It is just not ready for download yet. Apple is taking their sweet little time about it. They're a little slower than what Google Play is at getting it on, but it is out there for Android right now. You can see some screenshots on your screen here. So just go to your Google Play Store on your Android phone. Just search for Southern Indiana Weather. If you don't find it, just put the Southern Indiana Weather in quotation marks. Makes it a little bit easier to find there. iPhone should be coming soon. It's a great little app, and I hope you enjoy it. Use that. It's got a great interactive radar product that you can track these storms with live as they roll through the area today, folks. Let's go to southernindianaweather.com and talk about your updated 7-day forecast. It's so early in the morning, I haven't even switched over for the tonight off of here yet, but basically, I'm looking at about 65 for your high temperature today, and that may be even a little bit too aggressive, and that's here in the Dubois County area where the Southern Indiana Weather Office is located. Towards Evansville, no, you're probably not going to get but 62, 63 today. It's going to be even cooler over there. Points closer towards Louisville may end up getting closer to the upper 60s, even closer to 70 today, where you've got less rain and more sunshine. The temperature is going to depend all on how much sunshine and how much rain we end up getting. Lots of questions there. You can see from there that the cooler weather does take over, and we start to get to the low 70s again on Monday, but we've got a little bit of rain to deal with through really the next couple of days. All right, I'll cut it off here for this morning's edition of Beyond the Weather, folks. Keep it right here to southernindianaweather.com and to Southern Indiana Weather on Facebook for the latest details. Anything does fire and go severe today, folks, we will be here tracking. You can also follow us on Twitter at SouthernINWX. All right, that's it for this edition of Beyond the Weather, folks. I'll have the quick cast out for you here in just a little bit. By the time you're watching this, it'll be out. Have a good day.